Well, hello, everyone. Hello. I am so happy to be here with you today for a segment of Monday Mail with TK. I am going to be talking to you today about forgiveness. I think this is a very important topic, and I've received some requests for this particular topic, and we want to know why it's so important for us to forgive. I want to start by lifting up the idea that we have a high level tendency to share our highs, our highlight reel, the REEL, the highlight reels of our lives. But what we do fail to realize in so many moments, we do not share our challenges. And today, I want to share challenge with you. I want to share low point. I want to share that the reason why we can actually communicate on the high level reel is because we've been on such low points. So today I'm going to transparently share my own truth as I attempt to answer the question for so many who are asking about forgiveness. So I want you to join into this conversation. I want you to share it. I want you to just invite a friend. We're talking about forgiveness. And like I've mentioned, thank you all that's joining me right now. Like I have mentioned, I'm going to share a very transparent truth about my journey as it relates to forgiveness and being wanting to forgive and wanting others to forgive us actually starts as an internal process. It's an internal job. And as I teach about personal growth and as I encourage people to personally develop, I also have to take that in for myself. And I also have to realize that there are some areas, even within me, that I have to work on in order to give out this type of information. So, as I share this journey of a transparent truth of forgiveness, it was just a few weeks ago that I really started asking the Lord to lift me beyond my capacity to not forgive. I want you to hear what I've said. I have held on to things so long. I'm not a grudge holder, but things have become cemented in my heart because of things that have happened to me, because of how I felt people treated me, or they've treated me a certain way. It's cemented in my spirit and in my heart. And let me tell you something about an introvert. I am an introvert by nature. I masquerade as an extrovert, but I have to be very clear with you when I tell you that I am an introvert by nature. And so when introverts have high level passion to help others, they go hard. You give them an assignment, they know how to assert themselves into that assignment and aggressively get the job done. It really hurts an introvert when their world is shaken, if you will, if something is said to them that is just painful or that is hurtful, or people, treat them, indifferent. It's hard for introverts to enter into discomfort. It's hard for introverts to enter into conversations of conflict and confrontation. Introverts that have a high level passion, such as myself, to treat people well, what happens is that they start out at 100. Introverts always with high level passion, we start out at 100, but we swing to the complete opposite of the pendulum and we go to zero. So we don't have to be primed, we don't have to be motivated. We have something intrinsic inside of us that inspires the motivation. So we don't have to go from 0 to 100. But when something hurts us, it hurts. I'll say that one more time. When something hurts an introvert, and I'm not excluding anyone, but I'm talking about TK right now, because I want to share my transparent truth with you. And we're talking about forgiveness and why it is so hard to forgive. I'm telling you, these are the reasons why it's hard to forgive, because of how we are already wired, how our DNA is already set up. So let me continue on that trajectory. Introverts such as myself, who just have a passion for people, passion for servanthood, a passion for serving, we're not motivated by anything external. Everything is intrinsic. So we go from 100 to 0. But once we get to 0, we have a tendency to fade in the background of obscurity because we have been hurt. When we've been hurt, we've been hurt. And I think this is true for all persons. We are humanly wired that when we are hurt, it just hurts. And we're seeking someone to tell us that they're sorry. We don't really mind you consistently speaking to us, but we're looking for that human touch of please forgive me. I'm so sorry. So why is it so hard for us to forgive? It's hard for us to forgive because we're looking for forgiveness. Forgiveness is the highest form of giving. And so I took a journey a few weeks back and I told the Lord that I am so tired. I am so tired of being hurt. I'm so tired of carrying people in my heart. I'm not a grudge holder, but when people have hurt you, it's there and it's cemented, and everything that starts, how cement works. As cement starts to harden, it becomes heavy. And I just told the Lord, I just went on a path and I just said, hey, I'm tired of carrying people. I'm tired of carrying this burden. I'm tired of being feeling like I've been the one that has done something wrong. And I know that I haven't done anything wrong. I just want them to say, I'm sorry. I just want them to tell me that they apologize. But you know what? As I started taking the journey of forgiveness, I started saying, I am going to forgive others who I know have done me wrong, because I need this cement to be jackhammered away from my heart. I cannot continue to teach people. I cannot continue to grow people. I cannot continue to develop people if I am carrying cement blocks in my heart. And so I began to ask God to please release me from that people, right? I can't do this because I don't want to stay faded in the background of obscurity because I feel like somebody owes me something. If you feel like they owe it to you, you go to that person and you say, hey, you really hurt me when you said what you said, or you really hurt me when you did what you did. However, there are a lot of us who really don't know how to do that because, again, like I will say, we don't deal well with confrontation. Another thing I don't deal well with is confusion. I don't deal well with a lot of chaos because I understand that where there is confusion and chaos fused together, I understand one thing about that. I know that God is absent. The only place God is ever absent is in the midst of confusion and chaotic situations. And so because he's not there, I don't want to be there. And so I have always taken the low road of just saying, I'm going to deal with this personally. I'm just going to cement this block in my heart and I'm not going to worry about it. But what tends to happen is that as you cement that block in your heart, what happens is that you try to move forward and you can't. You try to find yourself moving forward and you can't. You know why? Because you're weighted down with the weight of that cement in your heart. And what I want to encourage you today, as I started taking the journey with God on this pathway of forgiveness, I started saying to God, I forgive them. I forgive him. I turn her over to you. I don't want to carry her or him or them any longer. I don't have the capacity, Lord, to stretch far beyond this any longer. I don't have the strength to carry them. I'm telling you my own personal truth because I want to explain to you that these are reels, REELS. These are reels of challenges. I don't always want to be the person that pedestals the highlights of life, without showing you that we are human. We have feelings. We're not robotic. We can only do so much. We can only take so much. We can only be to so many people who we can be that to. And guess what? The masquerade of trying to get through this, we can no longer do that. We have to operate in a level of forgiveness. Forgiveness. Give is right in the middle of that. Forgiveness. It is the highest form of giving. And as much as I know that I give myself to people, projects, and products, one thing I did not give myself to was the area of forgiveness. And today I stand telling you that I have walked a journey of forgiveness. And as I begin to release people to God, and I released that cement block of my heart, as I begin to do that, let me tell you what transformed, what began to happen in the atmosphere. I promise you, this did not happen 5 years ago. This happened 5 minutes ago in just terms. I want you to know this is currently in progress right now. I want you to know that an individual inboxed me from years ago, and this is a social media setting. It's a social media platform. We as humans, we try to figure out, well, who is she talking about? What's happened? What? I'm not speaking of anyone in particular. Unless I call a name, I'm not speaking of anyone in particular. I am letting you know that this is my personal journey. This is my transparent truth. And I want to help whomever needs the help in this journey of forgiveness. You've asked me for it, and I have to tell you the way that it has been downloaded to me by God to give it to you. So I took the journey. I released the people. I asked God to jackhammer and chisel that away. People that I know could have helped me that didn't help me. People that I know that helped me that hurt me in return. Things that have been said, you try to protect your reputation, you try to protect your character, and then something is said or something is done that seems to crash your world. You keep fading. It's like a piece of you keeps going downhill. But I told God, I don't want to live where I cannot look at their name and not have a feeling to trigger. I'm talking about human nature. Yes, we are saved. Yes, we are forgiven by God. But I'm talking to the natural man now so that we can personally grow from the inside out. When a seed is planted, it's buried. It's in the darkness. And it's in the dark time where we are being developed. Okay? Just as film has to go in the dark room, we are in the dark room right now. This is the dark room of my life. And I had to say to God, listen, I can't carry these people anymore. I want to be able to see their names. I want to be able to say their names and not have a feeling of animosity attached to that. I want to be able to celebrate them just like they would celebrate me, or just like I would celebrate somebody who has not hurt me. I want to be able to still walk hand in hand with them, even though we did not agree. This is what forgiveness really is. This is true forgiveness. And even though they may never come back to you and apologize. See, this is where I got hung up. I got hung up right here. I kept saying, but I didn't do anything wrong. It was not my fault. Why are they treating me this way? I'm waiting. I'm standing here waiting. And the longer I wait, guess what? The harder the wait. The longer I wait, the harder the weight became. And the more weight you put on yourself, you're only going to have the capacity for so much strength. So I began to ask God, chisel this away from me so that I can not only personally grow, but I can continue to help others to grow. And as I said that prayer, the Lord allowed someone to inbox me just a couple of weeks ago and said, years later, this is well over 20 years, definitely said, this individual stated to me, I am so sorry for what I did to you years ago. And let me be very clear. It was a financial misuse. It was not anything of abuse. It was not anything that put me in harm's way. I've not had that situation, but it was financial. The person had financially taken advantage of me. I was young and I did not understand the financial ramifications of what I entered into when I entered into this contract with this particular individual. They may have known, but I didn't know. And because I didn't know, I suffered behind that financially. I suffered great loss. And for years, I could not get over that because I could not imagine. I couldn't put it in my mind. I could not conceptualize how someone that I had revered, somebody I had admired. And let me be clear here, people. I've only been in church. I've not dealt with any of this outside of the church. So it was in church that I was taken advantage of financially. And this person, as I began to take the journey of forgiveness, this particular individual out of the blue stated, I'm so sorry. You looked up to me. You admired me. You were, you meant I was your mentor. I was your mentor. I was supposed to be the person to show you the light, and I did you wrong. And I want you to know that I am so sorry. The individual went on to say that you may not even receive this, but I want you to know that I want you to accept my apology. I want you to know how sorry I am. Now, when I got it, I was immediately struck. I started crying. Y'all, this was not, this is not 5 years ago. This is me right now, today, maybe a couple of weeks ago now. And I want to be as transparent as possible because see, what happens is that we are so, we masquerade with our highlight reel, but we do not share the challenge. This is why we can play the highlights. This is why we can roll the credits, because we've been through the challenge. We are going through the challenge. And I'm just trying to help someone understand that this is why you have to give people over to God. You cannot do what God can do. This is not your battle to fight. And that's why I want to interject here. Young people, older people, stop trying to give subliminal messages across social media. That's not the place to get someone to apologize to you. This is not the place for me right now to get a subliminal message out to someone. This is the place that I share with you that if you do not stop to ask God to chisel away that cement from around your heart and to give you a heart of flesh so that it can align with his will, I'm telling you, you're going to always be out of sync. You're never going to synchronize with his will because you harbor unforgiveness. And you know what? It's so easy for us to say, oh, I don't have unforgiveness in my heart. But when you see a person's name that has done you wrong, it triggers that emotion that causes you to talk about it over and over and over again. That's harboring unforgiveness. You may not hold a grudge. There's some of us, I don't hold grudges. I don't know how to hold a grudge. I was raised in the military. We traveled. We had to adapt to everything and everyone. And this is where I also want to insert. Get to know people. Sometimes, you feel like you're being hurt by someone, and that could just be their personality. They don't mean any harm by it. They don't mean to be what you're saying that they are. You have to know a person's background. You have to know that in my life, I was raised in the military. We had to get it, and we had to get it fast. We learned fast. We grew up fast. We traveled. We were any given moment, my father's unit said, let's get up and go. And guess what? I had to learn to adapt. So what am I saying right here? I did not foundationally know how to truly create lasting relationships because the military ingrained in our mind don't get attached. Because once you attach yourself, it's going to be time for you to go. And your friends may not be able to go with you. So detach. So the only thing I knew growing up was to adapt and work, adapt and work. That spilled over into my adult life because that's all I knew. So when people come into your presence and they know how to adapt and work, we're not looking for any type of recognition. Understand, we are already at 100. Just give us the task. We're going to take it to the top. We know what to do. But when you start treating people wrong, it takes them from 100 to 0. But I asked God, I said, I don't want to carry this. I want people to understand me. But Lord, I have to release these people, everyone from years back up until this present moment. I don't want to live in a life of unforgiveness. And as I began to make that change, and as the individual talked to me, my initial response was to cry. I cried. Every emotion that was attached to that message, and every emotion that was attached to what happened came up. So my initial response was, that's all you got to say? Because we're human. But let me tell you something. The Holy Ghost reminded me. He said simply to me, you asked to release the people. And now I am offering you a foundation whereby you can now offer forgiveness. Here's my response. My response was certainly these words. All is well and all is forgiven. I would love to invite you to be my friend on Facebook. Please send me a friend invite. I also would like to invite you to my group, Working the Dash to the Max with TK. I want to invite you into my space. When I said those words, it triggered something in the individual that made them say, and I can hear in the passion of the tone of the message that came back, it let me know that while I was carrying that person was carrying the load of what they did. So I have to pause here now to say, while you're thinking that you're the victim because you've been victimized, think about the person who actually did it. Yes, I know you see them, they look happy, they're gone on about their business, and in your mind, you're like, they done me wrong. I can't believe they moved on with their life. Trust me, they really haven't moved on with their lives. They know what they've done. You know what you did. I'm just going to say it like that. You know what you did. They've not moved on until they come to grips with the idea that they too are in need of forgiveness. They cannot move on. But I'm challenging us today. I want to tell you, I want to challenge you today. I want you to reach out. Don't just reach out to God. Don't just reach up to him. Reach out to people. Touch them. Let them know. Listen, I'm sorry. I didn't mean any harm by that. I wish I could take that back. But since it's out, and since it hurt you, I forgive you. And when you ask for forgiveness, ask for it genuinely. Don't say to somebody, if I've done you wrong, you know you did wrong. Start with that. Start with, I did you wrong and I apologize. I know that I cannot take away the hurt and the pain associated with what I did or with what I said, but I'm sorry. It doesn't take anything. I practice saying I'm sorry all the time because it doesn't take anything away from me. A genuine apology is necessary. But let me say this before I go. If they never apologize, you forgive. If they never apologize, you forgive. Because only God can right the wrong. So I'm going to leave you with that statement. And this has been a transparent truth of my heart. And this is working the dash. We have to maximize the middle. That dash that's in between your date of birth and your date of departure, you've got to maximize that. And it's no use in sweeping all around. You know what? One thing about it, I can clean my entire house, but if there's still dishes in the sink and the trash needs to be taken out, the house is not clean. I don't care how nice it smells in one room. If there's something that's still out of order in another space, until I correct that space, it's still going to be undone. So what I want you to remember today, the challenge is to forgive. Release the people. Release them from your heart. Tell God that when you see them or say their names in prayer, that's what you do. You pray for them. And as you pray for them and their success, don't just pray for them, but pray for them and their success. As you pray for them and you pray for their success, the health of their well-being, the fruit of their labor, as you pray for them, guess what? That jackhammer for that cement is going to continue to work that cement off your heart. And as that cement comes off of your heart, guess what? You can definitely say, if they never apologize, I forgive you. I forgive you. Say those words. Be blessed today. Know that forgiveness is an inside job. It is a matter of your heart. So I have taken the time that I'm going to take today to express my feelings about that. I hope with the Monday Mail on forgiveness, you have your question of why do we have to forgive has been answered. We have to forgive because God has forgiven us. More importantly, we have to forgive because this is the way we live. If you don't forgive, it's like drinking a poison, wishing the other person would die. So stop killing yourself. Let us walk in forgiveness. Let us stand in forgiveness. And let us know that we are the light of the world, the salt of the earth. If they never apologize, what are we going to do? We're still going to forgive. Be blessed. Take care. I'll see you at another time.